Hi, everybody. Hi. It's me. It's Zen again. Hope all is well. Hope everyone's been great. I hope y'all have been enjoying your Halloween season. Happy November. Happy Day of the Dead. Happy Halloween. Happy St. Hallows Eve. St. Hallows Eve. Happy New Moon. Today we have a Scorpio new moon. And it's largely why I'm here. The new moon, right? New moon, new moon, who this, right? New me, who this? Oh man, it's been interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Life has actually been interesting. I decided today, it's not just me, I decided. I'm moving in flow, trying my best to move in flow with fashion. That's just kids playing in the background, nothing bad happening. It's a nice day outside, so there's some kids playing and people on their way to weekend holiday Halloween parties and whatnot. It's funny because I really enjoy Halloween season, but I almost never dress up for Halloween. I'm never ready. Like, something about this part of the year, um, creeps up on me really fast. I don't know why. But November's not over. Maybe I'll do something. Maybe I'll dress up for the month of November. I know there's certain places in the world where they actually celebrate Day of the Dead all month. And so I'm feeling like I really want to do it that way, celebrating Day of the Dead for the entire month of November. And I'm thinking, I figure I could start, also considering it being a new moon, start by being a bit more vulnerable than I've been being in the last couple of posts, with intention. I started off really, although I am going to still do card readings every now and again, but I honestly, I've been actually using that I've been using the tarot cards as kind of a crutch. I use the tarot cards as a way. It's almost like I want spirit to tell me what to say, rather than just talking and being more vulnerable. And to be honest, when I think of the sign of Scorpio, I think about their struggle with being vulnerable. And Scorpio is actually one of my favorite signs. It's probably my favorite sign, like, on paper. And I'm not changing the subject. I'm going to talk about me. I'm just saying. Since it is Scorpio new moon, I should mention a little bit why I like Scorpio. And it's actually one of the most magical signs in the zodiac. If you ask me, of course. Everyone has their opinions. It's one of the most magical. When we think of Scorpios, we tend to think of scorpions and snakes. We often forget about the reference to dragons and eagles. Eagles, like E-A-G-L-E. Eagles, birds that fly. Scorpios ruled over the genitalia area and reproductive organs. When I think of Scorpio, I think of, it's a water sign, but I think of like dark water, like swamp water, when I think of Scorpio, to be honest. And what's fascinating about Scorpios is when I think of Scorpios, I think of their struggle with being vulnerable. And one of my inside jokes with myself is like, I would love to meet a Scorpio who actually wants to really get vulnerable, because there's another saying that goes, freedom is on the other side of fear. And I just feel like a Scorpio truly embracing vulnerability would be a beautiful sight to see. And I feel like that's why we have the eagle reference. I feel like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are learning their things from the internet. I'm a little older than I look. I probably even said my age in one of these older posts. But I didn't grow up with the internet. When I grew up, you actually went to the library and you took out a book. You actually read books, and I feel like when you go deeper in studying the sign of Scorpio, you get to the ego part or even the dragon, right? Dragons can also fly, and dragons are other dimensional and magical. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like just to be able to, I feel like that there would be a blossoming like nothing we ever saw. And it just worked out that I actually have Scorpio in my chart, which is also why I became more fascinated with the sign of Scorpio. My Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, is in Scorpio. I'm an Aquarius, right? I'm a triple Aquarius with this huge Scorpio placement, which was a little bit even unexpected for me when I even started looking at birth charts, because we have all these not so great opinions and encounters with Scorpios, and then I look into my chart and I'm like, whoa. Not only do I have Scorpio on my chart, but it's in my Jupiter, right? And so I sometimes consider it like my secret weapon. The part of me that I lean into when it's time to make deep changes and transformations, and tapping into my creativity and intuition differently. Not just deeply, but differently. And okay, I've rambled for 7 minutes about Scorpios, and it's like I said, when I think of the sign of Scorpio, I think about and I'm being honest with y'all, anytime I meet a Scorpio, I wonder if they are vulnerable, or if they're just going to do the typical Scorpio thing of like really getting you to open up, get you to open up without actually really opening up. They know how to kind of like mirror it, or kind of mirror it in a way that almost feels like they're opening up, but they didn't really. And maybe I have some of that too. And so yeah, so I decided today I would just talk about life, what's been going on, right? It's been, let me see, about a little over 5 years now that I've been transitioned, right? I'm a trans person. For those who have not seen any of my other posts, it's fine if this is the first one. The other ones are okay. You don't got to go back. It's fine. It's been about 5+ years that I've transitioned, right? And so I kind of feel like this is the first year where more often than not, people actually do see a guy. They either see a guy or they definitely see a trans person. Whereas before, I was just like a girl. And it's funny because you can say you're trans all day, right? But I don't think people really started to believe me till this year. I feel like everyone had like, what's the word, latent? I feel like everyone had kind of a latent reaction until it was more obvious. I guess maybe my voice dropped a bit, and I don't know. When I look at myself, to be honest, I actually feel like I look pretty much the same. It looks to me like the same face with a beard. It's funny because before transition, I got mistaken for a guy all the time. And I honestly don't really care either way, especially if we're just in passing. It doesn't matter, people. It doesn't matter that much. We have a little short encounter, and I probably never see you again for the rest of my life. Like, I don't really care, sir, miss, sir. I don't care. And as long as you get my order correct, right? As long as you give me back the right change, I don't care. I don't care that much, especially if I know I'm never gonna see you again. If I have to see you every day, it might be a little different. And so yeah, it's been interesting. One interesting thing that happened literally just like 2 weeks ago. I was shopping. I made a little bit of money. I'm up and down. I'm freelance, so sometimes I have some money and sometimes I don't. I had a little bit of money. I decided to treat myself. I need a new pair of sneakers, and I do arts and crafts and stuff. So I bought a couple of more arts and crafty things, and then I went and I started to go into this popular discount store. And as soon as I walked in the door, the lady's like, "You're a band." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "I haven't really been here in a while." And I'm like, "What happened?" And like, is it I'm trying to have a conversation with her, because I'm like, maybe if I speak, she can differentiate me from whoever it is she's mistaking me for. And then I said, "Are you sure you got the right guy?" She's like, "No, I'm not sure, but just in case, I'm gonna check your bag." And I just like, no. No, I'm leaving. It's not that serious. I was thinking about buying me a pair of $5 shades, and it's not that serious. And then speaking of shades, it's really funny because at a certain point, I was wearing a lot of shades. Also, like, really just, I use shades as a way, as a barrier, kind of a barrier between me and other people. I don't like folks being in my face. I can't always tell. Like, sometimes people are staring at you because you're different, and sometimes people are staring at you because you're attractive. And I don't know. And like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't always matter. I'm not at the club. I didn't come here to pick nobody up. A lot of times I'm literally just going for a walk, going to the store. A lot of times I'm not buying anything. I be window shopping a lot, really just to get out the house. I don't have a 9-to-5 right now, so I go for walks. Folks are staring, and I'm just like, right? And so with the shades on, the shades is really for me to not have to see you staring, because it's a lot of staring, not a lot of saying anything. You would think I remember growing up, I was taught that it was rude to stare, and I guess that just went out the window. I guess that doesn't matter anymore. I guess staring is in again. So I was taking that as a hint, right? I took it as a hint, like all my shades. So anyway, I was compiling a bunch of shades. I probably had like 4 or 5 pairs of shades at one point, and I'm literally talking about $5, $2 pair of shades. I don't spend too much money on shades because I lose them easily. And one by one, I would lose one. This one would break. I would lose that one would break. I was in the house literally getting some crazy glue, trying to fix my shades. I'm like, I need my barrier, and then I would go to the store to buy, and I was thinking about buying some shades, and they are already accusing me of being they already mistaken me for some criminal. So I'm like, okay, I guess. I feel like that's spirit's way. I feel like that's my spirit's way of telling me to like drop maybe let my guard down. I guess that was part of my guard up. I guess I'm letting my guard down now, and just being out here. And I low-key knew. It's funny because I was talking to a friend the other day. I was talking to somebody I haven't talked to in a while just the other day, right? And I guess they wasn't quite paying attention, right? And they haven't looked at my page in a while, and they was like, oh my God, you look like a whole dude. Oh my God, right? I'm like, do I? She's like, yeah. And then she's like asking me questions like, what is it like? How's it been? I'm like, it's cool, you can ask me the questions. And I'm like, yeah. And I also took that as a hint too. I feel like spirit just kind of like wants me to start talking more about myself. But I knew that I was always going to. I was waiting. Like, again, that was me. Like, when you've when you've been through some things, um, you know. I have a tendency to not lead with vulnerability like I used to. And so I'll admit, a lot of that tarot card reading and stuff was really just me warming up to being on this screen. It was really just me warming up to posting stuff. And I was also, it really was me just kind of like using that as a crutch and like wanting spirit to tell me what to say. And if you did check out those readings, you would see like the readings were clearly like messages as much for me as for whoever might have saw them. Because every last one of them was just like, hey, go for it, open up, go for it. And I'm like, that's why I would stop it, I would set up my camera, like, I'm gonna do tarot readings today. I pull the cards, and the cards is pretty much like, come out your shell, it's time to come out your shell, Like, it was the message over and over again. So when I see the message over and over again, I'm like, it's obviously for me. And then, I've had some weird encounters with people. I guess I've accumulated some haters. And so I anticipated that the first couple of people that's going to follow me was going to be my haters. I knew y'all would come. I knew y'all was coming. I knew y'all was going to be the first, and I knew y'all wasn't going to say anything. I even called myself trying to block somebody, but you can't really block people on YouTube, and I had mixed feelings about that, but all right, that's what we're doing. And so, again, I just used that beginning period to like acclimate. And again, like, it's Scorpio season, it's new moon in Scorpio. It's time to shift, time to make a change somewhere, time to morph. And I have my notebook with me because I did take a few notes just so that I can stay on topic. All right, so yeah, so one thing I would say about transitioning, like, it's been 5 years. I'll tell you one thing that I don't miss. What I don't miss about being a girl, like, again, like, I'll be honest with you, like, I'm just a person. I don't know. But what I don't miss being a pretty girl. I don't miss being a pretty girl. It was so frustrating. It was so annoying. One of the frustrating things about being a pretty girl is like how much it's like everyone is so seemingly invested in you staying this pretty girl, while at the same time no one is actually investing in your life. Like, that makes sense. It's like, oh, why'd you cut your hair? And it's like, you noticed? Like, you know what I mean? The people who never speak to me my entire life, the first time I decided to cut my hair, everybody want to be like, oh, you cut your hair. And it's like, oh, you speak? Like, what's your name again? I don't even know these people's names. Like, I have a neighbor, this young guy, younger than me. I don't know how old he is actually, to be honest with you. But, he walked past me and he's sucking his teeth. First of all, a grown man sucking his teeth, like, I don't know. I don't want to judge, but I don't know, you're judging me, so like, and so he's like sucking his teeth, catching attitudes, and in my mind I'm like, who are you? Who are you? I have no idea who you are. I don't know your name. It took a little while for me to catch on. Like, okay, you live in my building. Oh, you had a crush on me. Is that what it was? You know how you have neighbors and your neighbors have kids and you think of them as like your neighbors' kids. It's like, I'm not gonna befriend a child, so I didn't know this little boy had a crush on me. I was quiet. I was very quiet to myself. Largely because I got nothing to say to these folks. I don't hate nobody, but it's like when you live in when you grow up, when you live in the same neighborhood your whole life. In some ways you kind of get used to people, in other ways you actually get tired of seeing certain people. Like, I'm ready to move. It's just also why I'm putting myself out here, and I need to get my life together, and I need to put myself out there in order to do that, right? And not just put myself out there in terms of telling my business, but like, I'm an artist. I'm not really. I've been trying to create more, and then like put that out there, and so on and so forth. And I need to socialize again. You know what I mean? A part of me was I was partly allowing some time for the changes to come in too. So I was taking my time, letting the changes come in, so that when I go back out to socialize, it's like, okay, it's like what I am is at the forefront, and it doesn't have to be this weird thing where like, and it's like, to all the trans folks out there, I know you hear it 1,000 times over. You do not have to medically transition to be trans. Trans is an identity. It's not what you do medically, right? So some trans people choose to do what they do medically, and some don't. It doesn't make you less trans. And when I was saying that I'm trans before it was noticeable, I realized people weren't really paying me no mind. Like it's like when in one ear out the other. And I guess now I don't really have to say it so much. I feel like it shows, and so, which I appreciate. Like, it's okay if you don't want to talk to me. Now you know. Like right off the bat, I don't have to explain. I have to explain less. And the goal is getting out of here. I want to move. I would love to see other parts of the world. I'm not very well traveled, to be honest. I'm not very well traveled, so I like to get out more. I like to move out of my hometown eventually. I've done the move out, move back, move out, move back thing, and COVID came. And then once COVID came, it was like my housing situation was not so great, and there's a worldwide pandemic, and so maybe being homeless at that point wasn't the best idea. I even considered just being homeless. I'm like, screw this, I can just go live in the streets. Boom, there's a quarantine, nobody can go outside. So I mean, you can go outside, but it's like you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, let's regroup. And so I've been back home 4 years, it's 2024. 4 going on 5 years now, and I'm like, this has got to be it. It's got to be the time to go. It's got to be time to go. So yeah, so it's been interesting. I appreciate. I honestly just appreciate knowing my truth, whatever that's called. I said I wanted. I was depressed for a really long time, and I was just trying to figure out how to not be depressed anymore, and going within. That's all I was doing. I was doing one step at a time, and I didn't start to feel whole until I got to this truth. And when I actually started transitioning, I could literally feel like I felt like before medically transitioning, I really was all over the place. In some good ways and not some great ways, but I was very, very, very dissociated. I was so very dissociated, and as soon as I started to medically transition, I could literally feel within that first year, I could literally feel myself coming down to the ground. I used to even have dreams, those dreams. Yeah, does anybody have dreams where you're running, and then, like when they show you videos of people walking on the moon? Walking on the moon. I don't know if that really happened or not, but I'm just talking about how they look walking, like how the gravity is lighter, and then like that's actually how running used to be in dreams. I used to run like this, so I couldn't really get my footing because I would float up like this, and I would float up like this. And I remember, I would say around the time of me deciding, it was either after or maybe just before, I had a dream. I had a dream of me in my apartment, jumping out the window and running And I remember I had on a pair of Converses. I don't know why I had on Converses specifically. This is not advertising for Converses. I don't even, yeah, I think I had Converses at the time. But I remember actually running. I could actually feel the pavement under my feet. I wasn't floating anymore. I was on the ground running, and I'm like, what a feeling. That felt good. That felt great. I feel more presently in my body. Like, yeah, I still got some like fasting and stuff to do. I could stand to do a little more fasting. I've been feeling a little foggy lately, but it's not the same. It's like when you've been depressed, deeply depressed, and then you come out of it, you feel the difference. Like, I can be sad. I can feel a little bit depressed. I can have a sad day. I can have a sad weekend. I can have a sad month. And then I can jump up and go live my life. It's not the same anymore. It doesn't feel like I'm carrying another me on my shoulder in some way. So, like, I don't know. People go on and on. Like, oh, we have all these theories and discourse and, I don't know, trans this and trans that and blah, 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 blah. And to be honest with you, I don't operate from a place of thinking about categories. I don't operate from a place of thinking about categories. I just said, at the time that I was figuring it all out, trying to figure it all out, I said, let me just stop. Let me stop thinking about categories. Sometimes it's okay to just suspend all your own belief. Suspend the belief. What if none of the things I theorize or think I believe is even true? All I know is I'm depressed. Like, when you're deeply depressed, that's all you know is I'm depressed. It doesn't feel good. And ultimately, most people aren't walking around caring how other people feel anyway. At the end of the day, I'm the main one who cares how I feel. And I was depressed, and I didn't want to be depressed anymore. I'm like, I'm here. I'm alive for a reason. I do believe we all come here for a reason. And I'm like, I'm here. I'm existing. I'm in this world for a reason. Let me see what the reason is. What if I just focus on figuring out those reasons? What if I just focus on this step that I'm on right now? How do I get on the ground? How do I get less dissociated? How do I get less depressed? How do I do those things? And let's forget for us, as often as possible, what category that places me in. Because really, these are made up categories made up by people. This is a colonized land, colonized by colonizers. Like, let's be honest. I feel like we forget that part. I feel like we treat it like it's so far in the past that we should forget. Like, no. Like, you came to my land. You came to my land and murdered your way through it, and then placed people in categories you thought we should be in. It's like me coming into your house with your family and saying, actually, this is your room, and this is your room now. This is your room now. Actually, you got to leave. It's like, who am I? I'm sorry, the colonizer doesn't have all the answers. Whether Kanye say you don't have all the answers, Sway. Although he ended up taking that back later, but the phrase is still useful here, right? You don't have all the answers, colonizer. So, and then let's even, for the sake of suspending our belief, let's even just say nobody has any answers. Let's say let's say say all the theories are wrong. Say all the theories are wrong, and none of us have no idea what we're talking about. Right? At the end of the day, it was like, well, either way, I was depressed. And I just didn't want to be depressed anymore. And so here I am, less depressed. It's like, how many people cared that I was depressed? Nobody cared. I mean, like, people care. But people can care but for so long. You know, people can care but so deeply, right? Everybody's got their own problems, right? Everybody got their own issues. Everybody got their own life to deal with. And so I'm like, well, I care about me. And if I'm the only one that cares, then oh well, right? I do believe in spirit guides and ancestors and all those things too. I do believe they definitely helped in tremendous ways, and I'm definitely going to talk more about my relationship with spirit guides and connecting with spirit guides. And this is very much what motivate me to even share my healing. As a, you know, people say, like, what made you want to be a healer? And it's funny, we say that like we're talking about a job, right? Like, what made you want to be a garbage man? What made you want to be a bus driver? It's like, I just am a healer, whether I am helping you or not. I just am. My energy is naturally very healing, and I also understood, it's like, how could I really be of service to people if I'm not first helping myself? And so I spend more time on me than trying to be someone else's healer. And I just did life and trusted that spirit would bring, you know, I would cross paths with folks I was meant to cross paths with, and we would exchange whatever we're meant to exchange. And I would learn whatever I'm meant to learn, and maybe you learn, maybe you don't. I don't know. But the goal is very much getting to this place of knowing what I am, who I am, why I'm here. I'm pretty sure I came to Earth to learn me, right? The saying is, know thyself. And so I just focus on knowing myself and loving myself and honoring myself and taking care of myself and we had that phrase, like, what they call it, unfuck yourself. There's actually a book called Unfuck Yourself, but I just, you know, I just unstuck myself, right? Undepressed myself. And fast forward to now, I guess this is the part where I'm supposed to share. And like I said, I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm going slow. But I think it's time now I've been going slow, but I think this is the point where things have to speed up, right? So that's why we're in this new moon season. And I've been doing some seasonal cleaning, throwing a lot of stuff away, rearranging some things, revisiting some projects that I started and didn't finish, and finishing things. It's the season to actually finish what I started, and so that's what I'm gonna do. Interestingly enough, again, if you scroll back enough, you see that I went to start this page 4 years ago. I did a couple of posts, and maybe, you know, I got in my head, and like I let life get to me a bit. But I genuinely feel intuitively that when you have a purpose, the purpose keeps calling, right? When you have a purpose, it keeps calling. I feel like you can snooze it. I feel like you can snooze your purpose, but for so many times, right? You hit that snooze. My purpose was calling. I would do a little bit, and I'd be like, these people are so unappreciative. I'm just gonna focus on me for a while. Bye, y'all. And then, you know, spirit would get me another nudge. You know, come join this healing circle. Come DJ this party. All right, I'll do this thing. You know, without literally not heavily advertising myself, just more so word of mouth, allowing word of mouth to just do what it does, and because really the focus is on me. Right? We live in such a world of workaholics that workaholics hate me. I think workaholics really hate my guts because I dare to take a year off. Take a year off. I mean, as long as you can keep a roof over your head and if you can take 6 months off, I feel like we're so focused on money that, and it's unnecessary. It's like so many people I've seen with my own two eyes, so many people like just this too much emphasis on money, and then they get the money and spend it on crap anyway. So it's like, what was all that? What's all that for? It's such a distraction. Like, money can often be a distraction to you just doing what you came here to do. And we used to have this saying. There's a lot of sayings I used to say a lot more. I don't, but it's like they say, do what you love, the money will follow you, right? And so, like, that's kind of where I started from. And I definitely do want money. I never said I didn't want the money, but I understood that it's different when you know you have a purpose. You move different. Most people don't know what their purpose is, and most people don't believe in purpose. A lot of people don't believe in purpose. A lot of people who believe in purpose don't know what their purpose is. A lot of people are confused about what a purpose is. And so I can't help but feel, blessed and grateful for the fact, for like just knowing that I have a purpose. And knowing that I have a purpose, it becomes like that purpose is the thing that always brings you back to your center, if that makes sense. It's like, no matter how all over the place or how distracted I get, there's this purpose that's very there's this purpose that allows me to always feel a sense of being centered, regardless of how disarray I might get, or if I get depressed or I get lazy, I can get back up and get right back to it, because it's defined. It is what it is, and it never changes. It might change forms, it might change looks, it might change direction, but the purpose never changes. And for me, the purpose was always the point, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. Regardless of what category that puts me in. I guess that makes me a trans person, whatever the hell that means, y'all. Come on, it's too many titles, too many categories, too much. I feel like we're so used to worrying, we just keep giving ourselves more things to worry about. That's an addiction in and of itself. I feel like we're so used to anxiety that we just give ourselves more things to be anxious about. It's like, let the easy things be easy. Let the easy things be easy, and let the other stuff go. If it ain't, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. But if you want to be, if you want to be a little bit deep about it, I feel like we're so used to saying transgender that we forget that what we're actually saying is transcending gender. Trans is short for transcend. You transcend, right? We're all supposed to be transcending this matrix, aren't we? I feel like this, this media, and I don't know. I just say colonizer, and I mean no disrespect to anyone in particular. I say colonizer rather than saying white people. Because I do mean colonizer. I feel like there are some people out, there's people in the world that wants to keep us distracted and wants to keep us fighting amongst ourselves. It's like, if there's a lot of evils out there in the world. If you know there are evils out there in the world, let the evils be evil. Why would I label everything I don't understand evil? Why would I put that more anxiety on myself like that? Like, it's funny how nobody understands, people are so confused about trans people, but it's so certain that we're just evil. It's interesting where they say they're confused and then they're like so certain. So I'm like, whether the earth be round or flat, I exist. I'm existing. I'm still here. And if I wasn't supposed to be here, I wouldn't be here. Whether you want to call me sir, miss, she, he, or they, I'm existing. I'm breathing. I I have a purpose, and I'm going to fulfill that purpose. Or die trying. There's that, right? I don't know. This is just me. This is just me sharing me. Because again, like I said, Scorpio new moon in the spirit of being vulnerable, tapping into my Scorpio Jupiter, right? My Jupiter sign. See what I did there? Sharing is caring, right? I don't know. Let's see. We're at 40 minutes. I think that's long enough. I'll save other stuff for other posts. I gotta stop making them so long. So, all right. It's been real. It's been real. It's been real. So, enjoy. Maybe explore where. You know, one thing I'll share before I end this is I went for a little walk. I went for a little walk before I started the video, and I started asking myself questions like, where am I not vulnerable? Where have I been not vulnerable? You know, because again, like I said, there's been some spiritual warfare. You know, I hate to sound dramatic, but it's true. There's been some spiritual warfare going on, and I've been dealing with some karma. I'll talk some more about karma and stuff like that. But the first question I asked myself was, where am I not vulnerable? Because I thought about going out to do some tarot readings and stuff, right? I got up. I literally got dressed. I've been making a habit now of just getting up and getting dressed, even without knowing exactly where I'm going to go. Just getting myself into the habit of getting up and going somewhere and do something, right? But you don't got a 9 to 5. You gotta you gotta make your 9 to 5, so to speak. And so I was gonna do some tarot readings and stuff, and I'm just like, feeling kind of blah. It's a Saturday, and to be honest, weekdays are a little bit better for tarot readings and stuff. And so I'm like, but in reality, that would be me doing what I'm used to doing, right? I would be getting up to go do something I've done before. That's not really me being vulnerable, is it? No, it's not. And so I'm like, you know what? Let me start talking to the people for real, like Spirit been telling me to do in this new moon, and I can save readings for another day, whatever, you know. So yeah, maybe that's a good question. Like, where have I not been vulnerable? Where have I been, or where in life, especially, you know, how can I say this? There are areas in which it's like sometimes life gets to us in a way where we start to close off, where we start to get more guarded than we were, where we get, you know, we're more closed off than we were. I definitely have to put up a lot of boundaries, right? Because there was a lot of people, really just people pulling on my energy. I realized there was a lot of people pulling on my energy. There's a lot of cords people had in me, and I was taking that time to like just cut those cords, and which is part of the reason why I, you know, took a step back from everyone. Because, like, I don't know, no disrespect, I love people, I love socializing, I love connecting, I love networking, but things start to get funky when people start assuming that you need them. Like, people start assuming, like, yeah, I said, people see that I don't have a lot of money, and I feel like sometimes they see that as an opportunity to take advantage of me in some ways, which is really messed up, if you ask me. Like, if you see me struggling and you don't want to, like, be helpful, then be out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're either helping or you're not. And I even regret telling some people my life for real, because they start getting all these ideas. It's like I didn't realize people had such active imaginations when it came to like making assumptions about people. I wish people would, use that active imagination to build. People have a lot of imagination when it comes to what they want to do in your energy, but it's like, what's the good in that? You have your own energy, and your energy is just as great. I've literally had whole conversations with people where I'm like, your energy is great. I don't see what the problem is. And I don't know, maybe they thought I was just like blowing smoke up the behinds. Definitely not the case. And so I'm just like, things started getting codependent. I gotta reel it back. I'm like, no. I didn't say I was desperate. It's a difference, okay? I didn't say I was desperate, and I didn't tell people what you never know what people are going through financially. You never know if somebody's stealing from them, if somebody's maybe I've been taken advantage of, maybe people have stolen from me. Like, you don't really know why I have an interesting relationship with money. You don't know. So that's why things got weird. I mean, but what I'm getting at is this: that kind of made me close myself off more, and like opening up again, and I had to ask myself, like, okay, where was I vulnerable? In what areas was I practicing vulnerability? And then like where did I shut myself down at, and like how can I open myself back up again, but with the new boundaries, right? So it's okay to open up again. I have my boundaries. I've learned some things, and you learn how to cut people off earlier and blah blah blah. Doesn't mean I need to stop socializing altogether. So yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I know I just rambled another 5 minutes, but it's okay. But yeah, so it's like, how do I get vulnerable? Where have I developed some new fears? What have I developed? What is my new relationship to fear? What is my new relationship with vulnerability? Where can I open up in my life a lot more? What are some of the things? What are a list of things that I've always wanted to do that I haven't done that I can do now, or what can I like feasibly work up to in like the near future, right? Going down my list. It's pretty much a bucket list, right? Like, I'm still here. And so, let's see what life has to offer. All right, I guess I'm done now. Thank y'all. Thank you. Later. Bye.